Well, there is a flooding disaster that's unfolding in southern China. At least 56 people have been killed. Basically, they've had a lot of heavy rain and it's pushed a lot of rivers out of their banks with more than 1 million people evacuated. Transport has been disrupted. A lot of roads have been closed due to high water. And, of course, flights have been delayed at major airports. And, you know, this is basically what happens when 19 inches of rain falls in a week. It's been an unbelievable amount of rain. And this isn't the only spot across the globe that's been dealing with a lot of rain. There's been a disaster as well in India where monsoon flooding in the northeast has killed at least 20 people. There's just been nonstop rain, and it's left the state of Assam reeling. And again, that's in far eastern India. Also, by the way, you can see this video. Look at this. People fishing there. Looks like they're spearhead fishing. They got a group of people together during the flooding. Unbelievable. Southwestern Japan. Let's talk about another spot. 1 death reported due to devastating downpours. 20-plus inches of rain fell in 1 location with more rain in the forecast. Basically, they had a typhoon, which, of course, turned into a tropical storm. Hundreds of thousands of people have been told to evacuate low-lying areas. Just a lot of rain and flooding-related disasters going on across the planet right now.
Oh my God, dude. Holy fuck, feel how hot that is?
No, dude. Holy fuck. Slow down. Holy fucking shit.
I can't slow down. I can't. We'll die.
Holy fuck, you could just hear it.
Let's go.
Holy man. You can just hear this fire. I don't know if you can hear it on the camera, but this fire is roaring.
A province-wide state of emergency is in effect in BC. Wildfires continue to burn out of control this morning in the interior. As many as 138 new fires started on Friday. The evacuation of several communities has already been ordered, but that's not helping people's frustration.
Look at this. This is bizarre. It's just a ridge of fire.
It was a little stressful, but the firefighters are extremely good to work with.
Probably around 10:30, 11, the wind started picking up and we caught word that we were going to need to be probably evacuating. From the time we got word that we needed to evacuate to when we actually got out the door, the smoke had probably doubled or tripled in size in the sky.
I went back to go deal with my cattle, and the fireman came and said, "You got to go right now. This fire could be here in less than an hour."
My oxygen machine's there, a big one that I need.
All we're asking for is to be able to get down into Ashcroft, grab our pets, and get the hell out.
We're basically at the mercy of Mother Nature at the moment. Depending on which way the wind blows, will determine the outcomes of this situation.
Where we live, it's totally fine. And I don't know why they couldn't let us through, but if they let us through, they have to let everybody through. So.
How are you feeling just not being able to get in there?
Frustrated.
So who remembers this? If you live in the Southwest a couple of weeks ago, Phoenix, it was so darn hot the planes couldn't even take off. Yeah, the air was so not dense that, you know, we couldn't even get enough lift on the wings. It affects smaller planes a little bit more than the big planes. But we've also had a lot of fires around the Southwest over the last couple of weeks. And, you know, it's taken a while for this monsoon season to get going. And guess what? We've got more excessive heat warnings out. It's going to be very hot once again. And I know if you live in the Southwest, you're like, it's hot. It gets pretty hot here sometimes, but this is really, really hot. It takes a lot for the Weather Service to put out excessive heat warnings in that part of the country. You know, the threshold for an excessive heat warning, it's very different in different parts of the country, but this huge ridge of high pressure is just going to build the heat over the next couple of days. Look at this. Phoenix, Thursday at 113, by Friday up to about 117. That's starting to get up at least close to the affecting planes taking off territory. So, you know, the thing is, it is going to back off a little bit by the time we get to the weekend, and especially next week. But at least for a couple of days, the end of this week and the first half of the weekend, it is going to be hot, hot, hot.
The severe weather moving in tonight just as we start the weekend. Already millions in the path of deadly storms from Kentucky to Pennsylvania. Wind gusts nearly 90 miles per hour blamed for killing a 72-year-old homeowner, knocking a large tree right onto his house in Grand Haven, Michigan. Flash flooding washing away streets and submerging cars in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez now.
Tonight, powerful storms racing east. Intense rain snarling New York's morning commute. Roadways flooded from New Jersey to Massachusetts, some shut down. This is a major street here in New York City going right through Central Park, but today nothing is going through here. Subway stations turned into waterfalls. This after more than 200 severe weather reports in the last 24 hours. Powerful winds slamming the Great Lakes region as the squall line moved through.
It sounded like a jet engine, a jet plane was just parked on my deck. It was so loud.
Gusts above 90 miles per hour in parts of West Michigan. A security camera catching a flying trampoline landing on a car. In Grand Haven, a 72-year-old man killed when a tree crashed onto a home. Those storms knocking out power for 140,000. And David, those storms brought torrential rain to New York City, falling at over an inch an hour, and they're firing up again from Pennsylvania to Kentucky. It's going to be a rough night, David.
They are moving through quickly, Gio. Thank you. Let's get right to meteorologist Rob Marciano. He's live along New York's West Side Highway tonight for us, tracking these storms. Hey, Rob.
Hi, David. Finally in a dry slot here in New York, but it's not going to last long. And that heavy rain across eastern New England is out to sea. Over 4.5 inches of rain in less than 2 hours through Cape Cod. Incredible. The storms tonight, though, they're in through Cincinnati and through Dayton, Ohio. Indianapolis has been getting hammered. Those watches are up until 11 o'clock tonight. They should weaken after midnight tomorrow. By tomorrow morning, just some leftover storms across the east. Out west, that heat continues. More advisories and warnings out, just building. We had records today across Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Palm Springs. 122. Incredible. We'll see more of those numbers with more records falling tomorrow. David?
All right, Rob Marciano tracking it all. We'll be watching you, Rob, this week.
Record-breaking heat is fueling a growing wave of wildfires in the West. More than 36 large fires are raging across 11 states this weekend. Chris Martinez has the latest.
In less than a day, this fire near Santa Barbara exploded in size from 150 acres to more than 6,000. Massive plumes of smoke descended towards rural towns, forcing hundreds to evacuate, including Gretchen Leaf.
It was kind of heading in our direction, so we got the dogs, jumped in the car.
Further north, hundreds of firefighters are struggling to contain this fast-moving blaze near Sacramento. Residents like Sharon Alberson are preparing to flee.
I've put my trailer on the rig. We're loaded up. We're ready to go.
On top of the wildfire danger, brutally hot temperatures with records toppling across the Southwest. Phoenix hit a high of 118 degrees Friday, breaking a 112-year record for the date. Palm Springs reached 122 degrees, one of its hottest days ever. And in Death Valley, the mercury soared to 127.
We are going to see an increase in calls during this peak heat.
Los Angeles Fire Captain Eric Scott says many people ignore the very real risks of spending too much time outdoors, and even for the most seasoned veterans,
firefighters are not exempt to this heat themselves. Firefighter going to a fire takes with them approximately 100 extra pounds. You have temperatures up to 112 degrees right now. It's very challenging.
forecasters say there is some relief in sight. Slightly cooler weather is expected Sunday before a real cooling trend begins Monday. Rena, that could help with the effort to get some of those wildfires under control.
Certainly welcome news. Chris Martinez, thank you.
And now to the dangerous situation out west, where more than 40 large wildfires are raging.
Triple-digit temperatures threatening to make things even worse. Rob is standing by with your forecast, but let's go first to ABC's Marcy Gonzalez, who's in Santa Barbara County with the latest. Marcy, good morning to you.
Hi, Dan and Paula. Good morning. You can see some spots still smoldering here in this area, ravaged by flames. This grill is just about the only recognizable thing left of this building. The house behind it burned to its foundation. This is just a part of the destruction as fire crews start what is expected to be yet another busy day. Overnight, firefighters battling fast-moving wildfires across the West. Hundreds of people forced to evacuate, the flames spreading dangerously close to homes and in Santa Barbara County, California, surrounding this summer camp. Dozens of children trapped inside, the only way out lined with smoldering brush and trees. The campers finally evacuated, some of them in tears.
Scary? Yes, it was scary. Walk.
Boarded onto buses to safety. Farther up the road, this sheriff's office vehicle destroyed. The Whittier fire quickly scorching several thousand acres in just a few hours. Helicopters dropping water onto the flames while fire crews here on the ground keep a close watch, making sure the wind doesn't shift and these flames don't jump to the other side of this highway. Across the West, more than 40 other wildfires burning this morning, fueled by dry brush in triple-digit temperatures. And no serious injuries from any of these fires. We're told all of the kids from that summer camp are okay. The same for everyone here at this Boy Scout camp, where you can see vehicles and more than a dozen buildings were destroyed just a day before campers were set to arrive here. Dan and Paula.
Oh, just a little bit of good news out there. All right, Marcy, thanks for your reporting. We want to get things over to Rob for the forecast this morning. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, guys. You know, we're not even into mid-July, and this is the second record-breaking heat wave that the West has seen, so just completely baking the landscape, which is overgrown with all the rain they had this winter. 112 in Woodland Hills, that was a record, or tied it yesterday. Burbank tied a record. L.A., 98 degrees. That broke a record. Temperatures should be moderating a little bit today, but we still have red flag warnings out for the Sierras, the Cascades, the Wasatch, much of Utah. Hot, dry, windy conditions here, and temperatures are going to be obviously very, very warm. Although maybe 5 to 10 degrees cooler here on the west side. The core of the heat is shifting over the plains, and we'll see temperatures there triple digits for at least the next 3, if not 4 days. That's a quick check on what's going on out west.
a major cleanup in southwestern Japan on Sunday as the search for survivors from days of freak weather continues. Torrential rain, floods and landslides have left tens of thousands displaced, the death toll on Saturday rising to 16. As the weekend brought calmer weather, though, residents and relief teams took the opportunity to remove broken, waterlogged trees and dig through mud-filled homes and businesses. It's easy to see why people here in Asakura City say it's tough. But while many take advantage of a break in the weather, authorities have warned there are more downpours on the way, bringing little relief to locals, some of whom have seen more rain in a matter of hours than they usually get in the whole month of July.
Central China's Hunan province, continuous heavy rainfall has left 83 people dead or missing since mid-June. According to the provincial government, 28 of the dead were buried in landslides, 13 were washed away by flash floods, while 22 perished in collapsed buildings. The torrential rain and flooding have affected more than 12 million people. More than 1.5 million have been relocated, with nearly 500,000 in dire need of humanitarian aid. More than 50,000 soldiers, police, firefighters and government officials were dispatched for the rescue and relief work. And authorities are on high alert once again, following another heavy rainstorm on Saturday.
السلام عليكم. شوف كيف حولت والله مجمع لكم مجمع طاحن.
Mi coche a tomar por culo. Mi coche. Vaya con los veranos de julio, vaya con los julios calurosos. ¡Hala! Ya no llueve como antes. ¿Y cómo se quita la alarma del coche?
¿Qué quieres?
Directo a las redes sociales. Ah, su madre. Ah, su madre. No, está flotando, está flotando, está flotando. La señora. No, lo va a voltear, lo va a ver. Estúpido. Oye, y se va para adelante por el peso de la señora, cabrón. No, ya se quedó. ¡Ah! ¡Ah!
¡Ay, Dios santo!
No mames.
A chunk of ice nearly as big as Shanghai may break off of Antarctica at any moment. The European Space Agency is using this satellite to monitor the Larsen C ice formation. A 200-kilometer-long crack in the sheet of ice has deepened and is ready to give way entirely, launching one of the biggest icebergs on record into the ocean. Researchers say it's a result of a changing climate that is altering the polar environments.
As you can see, the glacier no longer ends in the sea. Now we have beach. 20 or 30 years ago, those beaches did not exist. The glacier was falling directly to the sea. In other words, there has been a glacial retreat, probably a consequence of the climate change and the rise of temperature in this region.
The environment at the North and South Poles is changing rapidly and impacting the global climate. The world's polar ice caps are shrinking little by little. The Arctic is heating up twice as fast as the rest of the planet, with Greenland's glaciers receding particularly quickly. This process is speeding up. Melting snow exposes ice underneath, which then absorbs the sun's rays and leads to more thawing. At the opposite end of the Earth, 90% of the ice shelves on the Antarctic Peninsula are starting to disintegrate. Ice melt is also being observed in mountain ranges like the Himalayas, Kilimanjaro, the Alps, and the Pyrenees. In the Andes, glaciers are retreating and risk disappearing altogether. Ocean levels are rising due to the combination of melting ice and warmer sea temperatures, as warm water has a greater volume than cold water. At the current rate, scientists predict that by the year 2100, sea levels will rise between 26 centimeters and 1 meter. Islands in the Pacific or Indian Oceans like the Maldives will be submerged. Densely populated low-lying coastal areas like Bangladesh, Vietnam, the Netherlands, and the east coast of the United States are all under threat. A 2014 report from the Union of Concerned Scientists warns that within 30 years, Washington, D.C., here along the Potomac River, could see 300 flooding events a year due to rising sea levels, and the impact in other parts of the world could be much more severe. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Washington.